I think it can. I think it also cannot. It depends on the relationship with the family.
Right.
Most starting entrepreneurs, I won't say most, but I'll say at least 50%. Their families are not going to be supportive of their new dream. So I think more essentially is you want to have a good friend base. I think especially in terms of entrepreneurs, you want to have good friends that you can lean on, rely on, rather over family, because I think family, that can be really dicey for entrepreneurs just starting off.
What do you think of that, Kareem?
I'm going to say this. You need a good base of friends, but you also need family members to support you.
Kind of like your mom just bringing you some takeout there. Is that what's going on? You getting some Chinese food, Kareem? So it looks like to me. Awesome. That's good.
Oh God, he get ready for the stomach rumbles. Here it comes.
Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, I think it's gonna happen.
I had to work. Well, I'm generally working, and then I get off, and I'm like getting on the power hour. So yes, my family, while they're not necessarily working on the entrepreneur power, they're not doing video production. They're not really even tech savvy, but they still know what I'm doing, and they don't get in my way. They don't like talk me out of it. And I think that's what matters.
Now, here's a better question. How do you detract from, what do you do when you don't have the support? What would your take be on that? How do you gain the support of those that don't necessarily, or aren't necessarily on board?
Well, I think it's important, Ron, to note that people who don't support you are a waste of time. That's what I found anyway. Kareem and I have a few haters out there. It's actually quite a funny story that I'll go into off the air once we're done if you guys want. But I think that I just don't let it bother me anymore. I think that people who don't support you are the ones who want to stay stuck in mediocrity. So, Ron, if you're asking that because you have some people who don't support you, I would say weigh the pros and cons of these people. And then decide, hey, are these people really fit for my life? Are they best for my life? Or would I be better off if I removed these people from my life and got some new friends and some new business associates? So it all depends on what side of the coin you're coming from. If you're coming from family and family's important to you and they don't support you, that's a gray area for me because I'm not super close with most of my family. My mom, my grandmother, and my sister, and some other family members I'm very close with. But if you go on my Facebook and you look at my grandmother's 80th birthday, there was people there from all sides of our family, and some of them I'm really close with, others not at all. But the funny thing is that after I told them what I was doing with my Entrepreneur Power Hour show and personal development and life coaching and stuff, they were really interested to hear what I had to say. And they're like, well, how's that going for you, Chris? And you finally found out what you wanted to do. That's awesome. That's awesome. And the old Chris would have said, well, where the hell were you 5 years ago when I started this? But the new Chris with all the personal development said, thank you very much for your support because I don't need to go back to that Chris that I was that would have reacted in a negative way and wanted to insult them because they weren't there in the beginning. That's another part of my growth is that I don't need to do that anymore. I don't need to reduce myself to their level if they want to think that I'm not succeeding right now. That's their problem. That's their fault. And they don't have to drag me down with it. And I don't have to bring myself down to their level. So I think it's important that you, Ron, if you're going through this, you have to try to balance out how you're going to react to these people and weigh the pros and cons of whether or not they should be in your life. Does that make sense?
Actually, I was more emphasizing that part. Those people that are maybe watching the show, maybe just went through it, and so my thing is, I think the best way of gaining support is to know exactly what you're doing. I mean, if you're passionate about it, it's going to be so easy for people to jump on board and support you. And I think a lot of it entails on just exactly what your dream is. Mm-hmm. If they know you're serious about your dream, it's one of those that if you are really serious about your dream, you're able to sit somebody down and say, listen, if you can either support me or, I don't need you need your drama at this point in time. So come back to me when I've got everything rocking and rolling, and I prove you wrong. I think that's the best way of handling it, like any sort of conflict, or regarding a support chain.
That's a really good point. I really like that. I wasn't sure if you were talking about you or somebody else out there on the internet that might be watching us. So yeah, just if anybody watching, just basically do what I said. Take the pros and the cons of each individual that's in your life. Weigh out whether they're a good thing for you or a bad thing. And if they're not supporting you and they're not willing to recognize your efforts and they're not willing to encourage you, inspire you, and push you forward, they're not your friends. It's that simple. There's been quite a few people I've had to remove in my life in the past that were quite negative and quite counterproductive, family being one of them. For instance, when I was out at my grandma's 80th birthday, my Aunt Shelley, who lost her husband in 2013 due to a heart attack. He was only 45 years old. Rest in peace, Uncle Jamie. I miss you. And I thought that experience would change her. It hasn't. The entire time I was out there, she barely said 3 words to me. Now, I wasn't dressed how I am now, but maybe had I been, she might have taken me a little more successful and serious. No, I was wearing, my metal T-shirts and my chains and stuff because when I'm around my family, it's like, whatever, Yes, I guess I should have dressed up because it was a bit of a formal event. There were people dressed up that looked nice, and I just came as I was. So, but at the same time, she should be willing to sit down with me and ask me questions about my life, but she's not. So I don't let it bother me. I don't care. I mean, that's her problem. And if she wants to view her nephew as a failure because he's not doing what she thinks I should be doing, or I'm not dressing the way she thinks I should dress, or whatever the case may be, I think the factor is just don't care anymore. Remove people like that from your life. You don't need them around you. Francis wants to chime in, I think. You're unmuted, Francis.
You know me so well.
Of course I do.
Oh, yes, buddy, you do know me so well. But I think the feedback I was getting from you was so pertinent because,
thank you.
Strangely enough, family, friends, even people that you don't know. You walk into a room of people and you walk into a room and you feel like, gee, was this a costume party? And did I wear the wrong costume?
Yeah.
What's the theme of the party? To me, expectations are just annoyances. Nobody has the right to put expectations on you or any individual.
I completely agree. That's something you're learning in class, isn't it, Francis?
It is, and I have fully embraced that.
That's great.
And it gives you so much more freedom. Now, tolerance is something that I am really struggling with, to tolerate other people's attitudes.
Boy, no one on this call has trouble tolerating people's attitudes, Francis. What are you talking about? You're the only one. I mean, come on.
Really? I am a unique bird.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
But, I just have the opinion that I can't get my head that far up my butt, so I can't see things from their point of view.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that people have expectations of other people. I think, though, when you're in a living situation with somebody, having a little bit certain expectations aren't bad. Like, I expect my roommate to keep himself and his room clean. I expect him to get up and help me clean the house or do the dishes or wash the floor or these kinds of things. And those aren't unreasonable. He lives here.
Well, that's like a partnership. You're in a relationship on an agreement.
Yeah, we're friends. Yeah, we're friends.
Yeah, so you kind of have your guidelines of friendship, that you have a meeting of the minds.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, when you get married, you take vows and you kind of enter into a contract of expectations. Or if you go for a new job, you're kind of in agreement with your boss that you're going to do your job in a certain manner.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yep.
But beyond that, don't expect that I'm going to fit your mold. It's not likely to happen.
I like it. What about you, Josh? You there?